We're going to start by talking about one of our races. One of our races is the Goblin. A lot of people have seen Goblins in different games, World of Warcraft, things like that. The Goblin is our smallest race. They're only about 2 to 3 foot tall, little tiny guys. Their skin is basically warty, reptilian. They vary between olive and sort of dark green. They are our second most abundant race after humans. People don't necessarily like goblins very much. They are filthy, nasty, bad-mannered little things. Think of Gremlins if you've watched that movie. If you haven't watched that movie, go watch that movie. One of the nice things about our goblins is they're not stupid. A lot of games make goblins these stupid sort of things. Our goblins are very smart. They're very dexterous sort of guys. They just don't have a very strong willpower, and they're not exactly the most fortuitous guys. The nice thing about them is they're very good at exploding things and lighting stuff on fire. And dear gods, do they like lighting things on fire and exploding things. A lot of their perks and a lot of their special abilities go to that. One of the other things that's interesting about our goblins is the fact that they're lucky. All of our goblins have that in common. So it's one of those things that you might see a goblin get blown up and he ends up pretty well off, other than the fact that everything around him has been destroyed. Goblins tend to live in the ghettos and the nastier parts of the world, but they tend to be also trying to pull themselves out of those kinds of roles. Neither the old ones nor the Fae want to take responsibility for the creation of their race, so they've sort of been left to their own sort of devices over the last couple thousand years. Nice things about goblins is they do make great magisters. They do make great artificers because they do have a great amount of intellect, and they tend to want to use those to get into great powers of respect because they don't get so much being themselves. One of the other things that's great about goblins is they have a great sense of either hearing or smell that's allocated when you create the character. And other cool things that I can really tell you about goblins is that they are sort of a hive intelligence. The more of them that get together, the more destructive they become. That's why if you look at a lot of our art and things like that, and you read through the core rulebook, you'll see a lot of places have like a limit capacity. There can only be this many goblins within an area, because otherwise they become completely destructive and a force to be reckoned with. So people sort of try to keep them separated, keep them apart, because they know the more goblins you get in an area, the more destructive they are. But goblins are definitely different from what you'll see in a lot of games, and I think they're going to be a fun race for you to play, especially if you like blowing stuff up or lighting things on fire.